Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's David Palmer, Leo King, and this is my show, High Vibe TV, where we talk about anything that's negative or having a hard time in our life and try and find, and actually, you know what? Not try. We do find a way to bring positivity and find those open doors of positive energy into our life. Thanks for being here today. Today's show is all about grief, loss, and how we deal with grief, how we deal with loss in our life. This can also be in areas where we could even feel sorry for ourselves too, about some things not working out the way that we want to. But I really want to hit about grief. Grief is important in our life, even though it is one of the, darker shades of our emotion that we got to deal with. Loss is another thing, and this can not only be with a death in the family or with a friend or somebody that passes, or even a pet that passes, but it can also deal with the loss or the grief or something that just didn't work out in our life. And we have to be able to put things to bed. If we're not able to put things to bed, it can be very difficult. It can be hard on ourselves. But it's important for us to have that grieving moment. It's important for us to shed that emotion, to embrace it. And I think that grieving always has a positivity to it. It's all about trying to find the good things. Of course, we can use grieving to focus on what happened and how negative something happened and the dark feelings. And that's, I think, part of grieving as well. But when we do have loss, when we do have something that doesn't work out, we have to find a way to see, well, where is this leading us? We always have to look at the path forward. Why did this happen? Where did this go? And there are some things that have some answers that are unknown. But I think that we have to always look for, okay, where's the positive from this and where things are going? Maybe sometimes things happen for a weird reason that we just don't understand. And I think that's what's the really hard part of loss in this life is, man, no matter how much we try to understand it, no matter how much we try to control the ending of that, it just seems to be very difficult. It seems to be something that is not really wired for the human soul very well. We come into this world with life. We are born into this world and it feels like life, right? It just feels like, our whole lives are about being alive. And then there comes that moment when finally it ends, but it's about learning the transition into another world, the transition of life and where it goes. That's what grieving, I think really has to focus on, is the beautiful transition into another world, the beautiful transition into another life, the beautiful transition into another state, another consciousness, another higher dimensional place. You got to look at it as when things end, a new higher place is beginning. And for all of us that are alive here on the planet, for all of us that are here living our conscious evolution on what we call Earth today, we will all pass. We will all have to face that transition point. And when we do, that transition point will bring us to a new place, a higher place. It's a lot like the stepping stones to life, or in Led Zeppelin's case, the stairway to heaven. There are stairways to higher dimensional places in our life, and it is the loss that we go through. It is a thing of transition in which we are able to reach that next place. And so when bad things happen to us, and I'll be honest with you, weird things can happen. It's through the grieving of that and through, releasing the emotion and then letting go that allows us to transition and say, that's over now. Whether we get fired from a job or a relationship ends, we could have this grieving over it. But we have to be able to let go, because the only way for us to move to the next round or to move higher in our life is to allow that next thing to come in. And that's what's going to lead me to today's story of the day. So today's story of the day actually has to deal with some personal loss that I've recently experienced just in the last week and a half to 2 weeks alone. within the last week and a half, and I think it's only been a week, my mom and stepdad's dog died, and his name is Hudson, and he was like the dog everybody loved. And it was really hard on all of us because, my wife and I went to my mom and stepdad's house, and he had just been diagnosed with diabetes. And so it was just only within a week of his diagnosis of diabetes and giving him insulin shots that things just didn't really start to work out good for him. We thought it was looking good, and it was really horrible. It was a very hard weekend last weekend as they had to take him to the emergency hospital. Long story short, he passed away, and he was only 7 years old, and it was very unexpected. And he was a dog that was part of our family, you know. My wife and I have cats, but with our busy lives, we just don't have the time for dogs, unfortunately. It's a lot of work to have a dog. And so, this dog was like the family dog. And so it was actually very hard for me last week because I really wanted to use this as a story, and there's been some heavy emotions in the family lately about that, and I didn't really go into that until it had some space. And then actually, this weekend was very difficult because I lost an aunt, and I haven't even got to confront my cousins about it because I just found out about it yesterday morning, and she passed within this last 36 hours. And that's been very hard. This is the first aunt or uncle I've had to lose in my life, and there's still a lot of processing for me to go with it. And when I called my mom about it yesterday, and my Oma was in the car, everybody, and I'm going to bring some light to this. Everybody thinks I call my grandma, I call it Oma. I thought it would be weird doing Future Life commercials being like, hey, Oma. People would be like, what's that? But maybe I should. But anyways, I was talking with my mom and my Oma yesterday when I found the news out, and, we were all crying on the phone because it's really hard to lose a loved one, and especially when you start to think about the other people that are affected by that. Like for me, it's my cousins, like they love their mom so much, so it's difficult. It's difficult grieving and loss, but we have to find that positive aspect to get through, and I think that's hard. But I think at the same time, no matter how much, because it always feels like it all comes at once, right? Like lots of crazy things happen, and then out of nowhere, some major loss could happen, and then some major thing, and it's like, why? And then you start to doubt, is there any positive road? Is there any good thing that's going to happen? And there is, we have to learn to see where is that new positive door opening. Last year, the hardest loss of my life was losing my godfather, Johnny. And I'm sure some people, if you've been following me for a while, knew about Johnny. But he was my dad's best friend, and my dad didn't have any brothers. He grew up with 3 sisters. So when my dad had his best friend was an uncle to us. And then on my dad's side, after my parents divorced and my dad was best friends with Johnny. Johnny became, if anything were to happen to my dad, Johnny would have taken the role of my father on my dad's side of things. And last year, in April, he passed away. And he passed away very unexpectedly, too, at 57 years old. And it was very difficult because Johnny was like the one guy that I called every day to bring me light. He's one of the most positive guys I ever met. We always joked, we always laughed. We loved to go to the beach and tan. We loved to be at the pool and put oil on and just sit there and tan, talk jokes and laugh every day. So that was one of the hardest things that ever happened to me in my life because just weeks before that, he was at my race supporting me, my first jet ski race, and totally was wanting to be part of the team and was always there supporting me in everything I do, whether it was doing my astrology or doing my DJing or he was going to be in my wedding too, and he was at the front table, and he was supposed to be there, and he literally died right before the wedding. So it was extremely hard, having to erase him off the RSVP list. There was a lot of things that were hard about his passing. But what I did to bring positivity to it is I honored John, not only by, I don't even know what you call it, but at his wake, I was the one who spoke at his wake, and I ran the wake, and I did the ceremony, and I honored his life for everybody, and I was able to kind of usher John's family through the beginning moments of that, which was something that I wanted to do to honor John and something that I could do for him. I also, I know it might sound cheesy, but I named one of my jet skis after him. And every time I race and I'm on that jet ski, and it's got R.I.P. Johnny on it, I race for him and I talk to him. And I always am there, you know, saying, hey, John, you know, we got this. Help me, give me the strength to push me through. You know, about 4 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I did a 300-mile race. And yeah, 300 miles. I'm not joking about that. And that race is grueling because, you know, about 4 hours into it, you're like, you know, freaking out a little bit. Like, do I have enough strength to get through this? And can I keep my hand on the throttle to keep it at 81 to 82 miles an hour and continue to keep going without flying off? And it was in those moments, you know, I'm like, hey, John, you know, I know you're here. I know, you know, and I know it sounds weird, but, you know, when you see people put RIP on somebody's car, or you see somebody put something on a boat or anything like that, there is a special meaning behind that, is honoring people. I think that we get too lost in the darkness of what happens when we lose something, and we need to learn to honor those people and honor those things in bright ways. You know, the Egyptians found many ways to honor the dead and made it a very positive and enlightening experience. And I don't want to keep this loss and grief stories about like actual loss and grief with death, but those just happen to be, you know, some personal stories really recent that have happened to me, including in the last 36 hours, have been very hard. But at the same time, you know, finding a way to honor those people are important. And I want to say that, you know, even when I lost like what I thought was the best job of my life when I was 21 years old, I had to go through grief and grieving with that. And, you know, it's okay to take a little bit of time instead of freaking out. You know, it's like you have to take that time to let it go. And it's interesting because I still am in contact with all the people from that job, and we all call ourselves a family. And we still honor all of ourselves and honor the job and honor the, you know, business, even though it's not around anymore, because we all felt that special aspect to that job and that place. And the way to pump you up about this is it's okay that things don't go the way that you want to, and that there might be ways that are very hard for us to find to get through it. But the best way to get through things is, first of all, accept it. You know, people go into shock when they get like a massive injury. And the shock is because they don't want to accept the fact that it's going to be major. And so shock is not a very easy thing to deal with. But if you always remember it's going to be okay on the other side, and you always remember that God gives us things in our life that we can always handle. And so we need to realize that when shocking things happen to us, that's just what it is. It's just shock. The actual event, you don't know what's going to happen on the other side. You don't know what the beautiful doors are that are on the other side. So remember that in any moment of shock, there's always going to be care. There's always going to be a positive road. And there's always going to be just the realization that it's actually not the thing that is wrong. It's your own crazy perception of not wanting to deal with whatever it is. And remember that shock is something that is our own mental understanding of what's going on, but maybe not our true perception of what really is coming up next. Thanks so much, and we'll see you after this commercial, which is all about futurelife.tv, which I do every day, a horoscope. Check it out right now. Hi, Grandma. How are you? Oh, I'm doing good. No, I'm eating really healthy right now in my life. Lots and lots of vegetables. Yeah, and potatoes too. You know, they're vegetables, aren't they? Yeah. No, I'm eating healthy. I feel really good. Yeah, I'm in shape too. Oh, my relationship, Grandma? Oh, it's going great. We're really connected right now. No, I mean, the love's there. She's lots of attention. We really have really interesting conversations too. No, yeah, don't worry about me, Grandma. It's going good. Oh, my dreams. You know, you don't have to worry about my dreams. They're always coming true. Yeah, financially, everything's going good. I've got everything I want, the job I want. Yeah, everything's going good there. Future life? What's that, Grandma? I know, I'll follow your advice. What is it? It's a new app? I'll check it out. Future life.
Future life. Wake up to your future like you've never seen before.
Hey, welcome back to High Vibe TV. I'm your host, David Palmer, the Leo King, and thanks for being here with me today. Now, this is where I do my Challenge of the Day segment. And really, I think today's challenge is, what are the things that we hold on to our life that we still haven't fully let go of or grieved over and let go? You know, for me, it took me a long time to let go of the grieving process of quitting cigarettes. It literally took me years. Even, you know, I'm coming up, it's been 5 years I quit cigarettes. But, you know, even at like 2.5, 3 years, 4 years, I still hadn't like put that one to bed. Like I still like wouldn't let go or fully didn't let go of the process that it's okay if I don't want to have a cigarette anymore in my life ever again. I just don't want to smoke, right? So I finally had to release my grieving over cigarettes because I still was like, oh, I just wish I could have a cigarette. I would say that 4 years after quitting smoking. Oh, I just wish I could have a cigarette. I wish I want a cigarette. I wish I could have a smoke. And you know, who knows? Maybe one day I'll smoke again. I don't know. Who knows? That's the thing about life. I mean, you know, it's like, gosh. But I don't want to now, and I'm on 5 years where I don't want to. And the reason why, I think, especially within the last year, I haven't even, and I haven't even like had like one hit of a cigarette, and I couldn't even tell you years. Because I've been so good about like letting that go, but I still had a little bit where I hadn't let go fully, you know? And so within the last year, I really like let it go. I think it was because I quit in February of 2013. In February 2017, I was kind of like, when I was like, oh, I made it 4 years, I was like, wow, you know what? I'm really over even thinking about it. Maybe I should stop saying I wish I could have a smoke. So the challenge is, what is it that you haven't fully let go of yet? And this isn't like, you know, deaths or, this could be about anything in your life where you feel like you haven't like fully let go of the weird emotional energy or that you wish that you had it back, you know. I think it's important for us to honor and yes, even today I still wish that I could have Johnny back in my life every day. But you know, by me honoring him, I found a way to have him in my life every day, but release like the actual physical part of him being back. Like, you know, like it'd be nice to have him here, but I'm also not wishing that every day. I'm not waking up going, God, I wish Johnny was back like I did when I was grieving. But you know, every day I honor Johnny. When I see Johnny, that jet ski over there, I go, Johnny, what up, man? Whenever I'm tanning, which has been a while because California, we've had actually like 60-degree weather for like, it feels like 3 months. And well, there's been sun, just not tanning sun, you know? But every time I'm tanning, I'm like, oh, I think of Johnny when I put on my oil, you know? So it's like, you know, I put positive things out there. And I think that's the challenge is, you know, what is it in your life that you have let go, that you need to let go of or that you are having troubles let going of? And allow yourself that final grieving process, but push it, let it go away. Let it so it can go to a higher place. Let that energy flow to where it needs to go. Because, you know, it's interesting in the movie Ghost, you know, when her husband dies and of course he comes back to try and tell her that he's still there. I think that there's a part of souls that have a trouble moving on if the people that are here on the planet don't let go of the strings, that they're pulling that soul to still stay here. And so that might sound crazy, but I think that there's a deep part of us that has to learn to allow souls to move on. To allow souls to move on, we have to also let our own hooks, our own energies, and release from them so they can go to a higher place. And we have to honor them and allow them that energy to go to a higher place so they don't have to feel worried and come back or they don't have to feel worried and be around you constantly. They know that you're okay. And so that leads me with today's closing thoughts, which is loss, grief, these things are going to happen in our life. But how we release them to go to a higher place is everything. Find a way to be easy on yourself. It's not easy to deal with loss. It's not easy to deal with going through all these things, whether it's a death or whether it's, losing a job or a relationship, or even when we lose all of our money. It's not easy to grieve over these things. But I guarantee you there's always going to be a better road that's going to show itself to another prosperous, more loving, more positive place than you even realize. That these are just minor bumps in the road. Sometimes they could feel major, of course, when we lose somebody that we love to the highest of our life. But also know that this means that you're going to evolve to a higher place in your life. That person, wherever they're going to evolve to a higher place. And so no matter what is going on with these things, closure brings positivity. Closure brings higher places for both parties or all parties that are involved to go to a higher level. And I think when we focus on that, we can find a way to not only bring closure into old parts of ourselves, but open up higher and more beautiful vibes in the place and where we want to go in our daily lives. Thanks so much for being here today. Thanks for being a part of High Vibe TV. You can find us on Facebook, High Vibe TV. Got a lot coming up with this network. Working on it right now. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you on the next report.